Second attempt at doing our BUR report. I've already renamed the file to today's date. Let's go ahead and begin. We're going to start again with the EAO backup from Tulsa. Select from data list to the end, copy, and paste in the EAO tab. Make sure that we don't have any additional rows to add or subtract. And then open the Alpharetta report. Do the same copy and paste action. Scroll to the bottom, make sure. Go to the pivot tab, click in the pivot table. On the Analyze tab of the ribbon, change source data and refresh. Now we go to the ITO report, Tulsa. We need to copy and paste directly from the email, as unfortunately the reporting mechanism here doesn't create a HTML file. Copy and paste to the end. And go into the ITO tab. Now we're going to first select columns G through V and unmerge, because there's an Excel bug with pasting merged data, unfortunately. So we paste now, and we see we've got some additional rows. So we scroll to the left and we notice that this is Alpharetta. So we're going to scroll up to Tulsa here and copy the cell server name down so that it matches the last row that we pasted. Now going into Alpharetta email, copy and paste, repeating the same procedure. Scroll to the bottom. We see we have some additional rows. We have to copy and paste the entire formula section down. Click on the pivot tab. Go to Analyze, change your source data, and refresh once again. Okay, now we go and start with the Data Protector reports. We're going to scroll to the Data Protector tab, filter on date, select the older of the two dates. Click on the left to select the entire row, Control-Shift down arrow to select all of them, and then delete. Clear our filter, copy the formulas, and then do Control down arrow to get to the bottom. We paste it and increment the date to match by dragging the cell. If you open the attachment, copy and select all of the BUR data and paste into the Excel. We're going to copy the formula bar down, and then if we click in the text on the right, the report that we just pasted, and hit the Control down arrow, we get to the bottom, and we can then Control-Shift up arrow and paste all that data. Now we prepare the the formula row for the next data that we're going to copy and paste, and we open the Tulsa report 2, copy and paste the data using the exact same procedure. Copy the row, click in the data, Control down arrow to go to the bottom, then Control-Shift up arrow and paste. Now that we know that this last row is going to be for Alpharetta, so I search for ATC. I just grab a copy of the cell server name and hit Control down arrow, and we're going to do that again. Copy, Control down arrow, and paste. All right. We go back and open the HTML attachment for Alpharetta. Copy the data and paste it in. Repeat the same procedure to go to the bottom and paste the formula rows. We then click on the pivot tab, go to Analyze in the ribbon, change source data, and refresh. And then we go and work on our 510 report. Opening the 510, we delete column H, select the merged cells, scroll to the bottom, and shift click to highlight them all and unmerge. Click the View menu, unfreeze the panes, drag up the pane separation bar, scroll down, select row 6, and now freeze panes. Select cells 5A through 5C, and under the Data menu, we now filter. Click on the filter for column A, select total and blanks. We enter a formula in the first cell that points at the cell immediately above it. We're in A7, so the formula should be A6. Copy that value, Control down arrow to get to the bottom, click up one cell to get into the first blank, and then we do Control Shift up arrow to select all of the cells in the middle. Then we paste that formula. We then filter column B, looking for blanks only, and repeat the same procedure. This is cell B151, so we set the value to be B150, cell immediately above it. We copy the formula in that cell. We go to the bottom of the file. In row B, we do Control Shift up arrow to select all of the cells and paste. We clear our filter out, and then we select both columns A and B, and we copy. Then we paste special because we want to paste just the values in. Right? Then we filter column C, removing the blanks. We go back to the BUR audit and select the heading from H1 to Z1 and paste them in A5. If we then select F5 through S5, copy, and paste it into D5. We select the two cells in P and Q5 and then use the drag to fill over to R and S. And if you'll notice that the dates automatically increment. Right now we select A5 to the end of the file by doing Control Shift right arrow and Control Shift bottom arrow. Copy the data, and in the audit we do paste special, and this time we use all using source theme. Scroll to the bottom, see if there's any added or deleted rows. You'll note that we pasted and there are two fewer rows, so we select the two last rows and delete them. Click in the Pivot tab, or for 510, click on a cell in the pivot table, and again analyze, change source data, and refresh. And then move on to the Net Backup tab. Select row 3, Control Shift down arrow to select the remainder of the file and delete those rows. We now go to the Tulsa Mars report. Open the zip file and open the HTML attachment in Microsoft Excel. This is a large file, so it usually takes a few seconds to open this file. It does seem a little frustratingly slow, but it is working with a lot of data. You can see that it's 30 megabytes uncompressed. When that file comes up, we are going to select the heading in row 16 and add a filter on the Data tab in the ribbon. You note that this file has data through the 10th. We want to select the day before. So find the started day, column R, filter, after, and we want to specify the day before the last data, so the 9th of 2019. Then go back. We're going to select 16A, do Control Shift right arrow, Control Shift down arrow to select all the data that we filtered. Copy, and we're going to paste it in cell H1. Control Shift down arrow takes us to the bottom of the file where we're going to repeat the process. We have to close the zip file and Excel file first. Go to the Alpharetta Mars report, open the zip file and the Excel file within. Repeat that same procedure. Select row 16 add a filter. We want to select the 9th. So we go to the column R started and we filter after 119 or 1/9/2019, I'm sorry. So now we select again 16A, Control Shift right arrow, Control Shift down arrow, copy, paste that in the BUR audit file. Then we go up to the top of the file and we copy our formula. Click in the data, do Control down arrow to get to the bottom. Go to column A, Control Shift arrow up. We paste all of our formula. We go to the pivot table or tab, click in the pivot table, change source data and refresh once again. All right, we have all of our data. I usually save the file at this point to make sure that if I mess up in this section that I don't have to redo all my copy and pasting. Now we're going to check the data. So in the file system area, we're going to filter on green rows. That's on the right, column L. Then we filter in column H, anything that wasn't green. So in this case, we have 2 servers that were red. We enter a text green and today's date. This is the 11th. And you'll notice that colors automatically change based on the content of the cells. So there's not a lot of work to do in reformatting the report. We clear that filter, and then we filter on the file system red backups, and we filter anything that was green in column H. So we had one server that went red, so we changed the color red and typed the date. This is 1/11. Clear the filter, and we repeat the same procedure for a database. You can see that I'm marking a database that went from red to green. Then we clear the filter, filter on red database, and look for only green. Now you'll note the comment here that there are only full databases backup required for these. And oops, this was a mistake here. Since there's only one database backup a week, we just need to be cognizant of when that happens. As you run the reports, you'll get to learn that this happens, I believe, late in the week. Maybe early, I don't remember. We'll have to look at it historically. But you can ignore the red here and not change these to red because these are only once weekly. Okay, clear the filter, and we repeat the same procedure for archive. Here you can see that there are no non-green archives. And then so we select red archives, and again we look for anything that was green before, and there's none. So we now have the report, and we can filter for what we send an email. So the first thing we do is we look at the red servers, and you can see that we only have 2 groups. We've only got VPC and EAO. First we filter on VPC, and we need to make a ticket to VPC to have them investigate these issues. This is a long-standing issue that they've been looking at. Sakura 1522 is a new issue. This server, TU1VWJPP006, actually recently changed vCenters, and that's probably the source of the issue. We need to have a ticket indicating that this has moved vCenters and that backups need to be updated and possibly QRS reflecting that new vCenter. We also look at EAO. The email here would indicate that they're still fighting the archive logs, so we need a daily update on what's being done to recover the archive logs here. Right? We clear that filter and then we look at the amber color, and you can see what we're pending now for enrollment. There's really 4 things going on, right? There are 2 servers that have an issue ordering backups on the portal. You can make an indication in the email that we will be manually enrolling these backups while the portal issue is investigated. The next is the issue with VMs that are misnamed. You can send a note that we're investigating how to migrate these to new VMs with the proper VPC names. The third is the HANA backup project, which is in flight. The fourth will be customer pending actions here. You can indicate that we're dependent on the customer for these enrollments, that we're waiting for further word from them. And that should be it. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.